Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously people like to talk about, and people do talk about with some legitimacy, about superhero fatigue, comic book fatigue. My feeling is that whether it's comic book based, like Deadpool and Wolverine, or whether it's an original new idea like Free Guy, if you make something that respects the audience and it is committed to entertainment and is well crafted, I think they're going to show up. It's a little bit that field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. But in my experience, they do.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's the tension of, like, I think, I get the sense that studios feel like you need to pick. You need to either respect the audience or you need to entertain them.
I don't think it's that clean. I think that, you know, Hollywood is very reactive. So they're constantly seeing what worked and then, oh, well, that worked. Let's do more of that. The truth is that I've always benefited, whether it was Stranger Things, the TV show, or Night at the Museum, which was my breakthrough franchise. Every once in a while, you got to take a big swing, and you got to play. We're here in Vegas. You got to place a big bet.
I think so. I actually was talking about it with someone the other day. It's like you just got to make stuff that makes people want to go to the movies. You know what I mean? Because anytime I want to hang out with a friend or whatever, I'm like, let's go. What's out? And if there's nothing really interesting, then I'm like, all right. We just gotta make stuff interesting for people, and I think that's why Barbie was so fun. It was because not only was it a movie, but there were songs, and it was a costume moment, and you know, it was a really fun, exciting time for cinema, and I think we're really back. I think cinema's back in a crazy way, and I think the actors of our generation now are really taking control, and I couldn't be more proud of this generation. I'm excited to see what comes next, but yeah, dude, we love the movies. We just gotta make good stuff.
So you don't feel like TikTok or like streaming is like a hindrance in that, or maybe it is, but it's...
In a certain way, I think streaming, there's so much going on in streaming and it is so convenient. And sometimes, I mean, I don't want to leave my house at all. Let me just put on any streaming thing that's out, and yeah, but if you make something good enough to get people out of the houses, especially now that we do have streaming and TikTok, then you know you're doing something right, and I think that's just the goal. It's kind of a challenge. How many people can we actually leave their phones and their TVs? I think that's kind of just the new mindset, because we have so much content all the time. We just got to make something worth going.
Well, you know, things have got better. I launched my research institute to look at gender depictions in what's made for kids. So TV shows that are made specifically for kids or family-rated films. And we have made tremendous progress, actually. When we first started, only 11% of family movies had a female lead. One of the leads, you know, was female, and now it's 50-50. So, yeah, we're very excited about it.
And it's interesting, do you think that maybe in some ways because of that, there's maybe this idea that like we've made maybe more progress than we have?
That happens. Every time a movie comes out, people say, well, now everything's fixed, you know. And when Thelma and Louise came out 30 years ago, people said, well, now everything has changed and nothing changed.
It's always an interesting line to tread, especially, you know, when you're working with studios and there's that sort of the connect between the sort of creative impulse and somebody saying, well, this is what audiences like or what they want. And sometimes audiences don't know what they want. They see something surprising and they love it. Everything Everywhere was a great example. You know, just like nobody was asking for that movie, but it's wonderful. And it's like, so sometimes, you know, there's a balance. But it is fascinating to be, you know, amongst people who are responsible for connecting with our work, with, you know, putting it out there, connecting with audiences and getting people in and keeping that movie-going experience alive. People forget that horror is often the sort of, what's the word? The sort of training ground for a lot of our like great filmmakers like Peter Jackson, James Cameron. They all started in like low-budget horror. And the thing is, it's like I was saying with Tillman, it's like his last movie, Loose, made it for 50,000 euros. And it's one of the most like disturbing, affecting things. And you think like, if someone can really affect you, can get inside your head with so limited resources. And, you know, I think one of the great things about horror, as with comedy, is like there's an instant feedback. You know if it's working. You know if audiences are freaked out. And I love horror with a bit of humor in there as well. Like for me, my fear reaction is laughter anyway. So you know if your horror movie's working because I'm just laughing my ass off.
I don't know, maybe my perspective is specific to my experience. At the tail end of the pandemic, I released a movie with Ryan Reynolds called Free Guy. And even though it was still the tail end of summer 2021, audiences seriously came out for us. And it really reaffirmed for me the fact that there's an innate hunger among all of us to be in that connective experience. And that was at the tail end of the pandemic. And so I'm a believer, and I think that Dune is showing this, I think Barbie showed this, I think Godzilla Kong is showing this. I might have gotten that reversed, forgive me if I did. But if you offer audiences an opportunity to be transported and connected in a dark room with a few hundred strangers, I think that that's still a beautiful experience. I think there's a kind of magic to it, and I'm still a believer. And I'm really excited because we built Deadpool and Wolverine for audience joy.